Welcome everybody to another CTC Software webinar. Today we're going to talk about Label Genie and what's come out in the past year. My name is Tony Crick. I'm the Civil Product Manager here at CTC Software. And as always, this webinar will be recorded, which you can view later. And if you are viewing this live with us today, and we encourage you to ask any questions as we go along, and we will get to those at the end of the broadcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can ask your questions in the comment pane, and we will get to those as well. So Label Genie, for those of you who have been using it, you know it well. For those of you who don't, it is part of our CIM Project Suite of tools, and it's intended for the everyday civil 3D user creating design and production drawings. Our current version is 25.4, and it will work back to Civil 3D version 2021. So if you don't have 25.4, but you have our tools, you can open the tool and go to the download. I will show you that as we go along here. Label Genie is something that we can use to automatically label our sheets and drawings, and we use both Civil 3D and AutoCAD annotations to do this. We choose our anchor objects through property filters, and then we can insert hundreds of labels at once on things like surfaces, feature lines, polylines, pipe networks, points, alignments, blocks. Just about anything you can label, we can do. If they can do it natively, Label Genie will probably do it. And it will work on multiple drawings and layouts at the same time. And the advantages is you have detailed control over the insertion of the labels, including offsets, rotations, scaling, styles, and more. And the labeling can be done in plan views, profiles, section views, where applicable. And both AutoCAD and Civil 3D labels can be populated with basic object fields, user-defined properties, or property sets. And then labeling templates can be saved for quick repeat on other projects, things you do with regularity. So today we're going to look at some of the new things that have come out. We're going to see how to automate some labeling workflow, which will improve your consistency and reduce any manual labeling you might have to do, which in the end will maximize your productivity. So native labeling, how do we do that? We've all done it ad nauseum, most likely. So we use our AutoCAD annotation, text, dimension, multi-leader, and that's generally done one at a time, and edits are time consuming. And then Civil 3D label style annotations, placements for Civil 3D objects, those also are mostly one at a time, and generally we need to erase things when we need to update those. And Label Genie can label using AutoCAD annotations or Civil 3D styles, and we do it all in one place, in one application with several different control levels, and it will label everything simultaneously. And again, it will give you more control than the native labels. We can control our text heights, our styles, our orientation, and we can add custom content to our labels as well. And then include link fields, background masking, and rotations. So it uses existing styles that you have created. You will have to create those for you. We don't use anything proprietary. It's AutoCAD and Civil 3D styles that we use. We can label our XREFs, our objects in our XREFs in our current drawing, or we can reach into the XREF to do that. We have many good videos on how to label things if you're interested in how to do stuff like that. And we can include additional drawings too. As long as they have matching data and all the criteria fits, they also will be labeled. And we can label in model space, paper space, or we can label in selected viewports. So some of the things that are new from version 25.0 till the current 25.4, we've included some basic templates as a stock for you to use as a jumping off point, and they're located at that path, C, Users, Public, CTC Software, Label Genie. So we've added a selection to better update our XY locations for surface spots, when used for surface spots, that should say. And we're now able to have multiple structure labels in our profile views as well. We will get to all of those and show how those look. And we can choose multi-leaders to update XY offsets by selecting the new manual update option as the anchor point. And then we also added surface spot labeling to pipe network structures in plan view. So let's jump into the drawing and have a look at it. There we go. Hopefully you can see that. Now, if you're not seeing, please let me know. So firstly, Label Genie, it's right here as you saw on our toolbar. If you're new to our tools, we have several different tools for surveying pipes, grading, corridors. Label Genie falls under our general category, including labeling and a clash detection tool. And we have a data wizard for tables and legends and quantities, and then our sheet generator to automate the creation of your sheets. So Label Genie, when we open it up, it's going to look like this. If you've set your path already, if you've been using our tools and you don't have access to our templates, but you want to, you can move those. Otherwise, it will be here, as I showed on the slide earlier. It's going to be in your C, Users, Public, and then under Label Genie. So if you want them, you can just go get them there and copy them to anywhere on your network, or you can certainly path here. I think most of you probably would put them in a central location. But when we do that, if you load it new, it will go there and you will get this, for instance. So the basic settings for Label Genie are, we have our label type, our anchor, anchor point. We can get a count of what we're doing. And then we have, in certain cases, we have required objects, such as this for surface spots. And then here's what we know what to label. And we're going to get from an XREF. And then our layout labeling is right here. So let me just load one of these to show you what that would look like if we're loading one. So let's just start with that one if I tell it to load. If I have a setting here, I can save it as a template by saying to save it, and it will go to the location you're pathed at in your options. So if you load one of ours from the templates that we provide, you're going to get some preset settings. So our anchor object in this case is going to be surface spots. Here's all the other things we can label if you're setting these on your own. And this one comes with feature lines already populated. I'm going to label polyline. I'm going to put some surface labels on a polyline along here to demonstrate our XY offset. So to do that, I want to come in here, I want to open this up, and I can go pick it. We have several different options for selecting that. I'm just going to pick this single line right here. I'm going to say OK. Then we have a vertices selection. Most of them have for our anchor how we want to do this. For this one, I'm going to do vertices. Then we have some settings in here that you can select. I'm going to deselect everything. I'm just going to drop them at some intervals here. Let's go with, try 75. And I'll say OK. It's going to put them at 75 drawing unit increments along the line. And here's the newest tool, one of the newest tools to update XY offset on update. This particular one requires a surface to pull from, and we can pick it in the drawing. We can grab it by object name. We have this pull down here. If you have multiples in there, you can select from that. So I'm going to select the only surface I have in there. And then the next settings we want to go to is our formatting. So we go to our formatting, and this is where we select what's in there. We talked about you can have some custom entries. We would do that with this, and then selecting this right here. In this case, we're not going to. I'm going to change my marker style to that in this case. And then some orientations. I'm going to orientate to the object or to the view or the WCS. I'm going to leave it at object just for right now and show you what that looks like if I said 0 here in this case. We'll give it some offsets. So this will be the offsets that we are going to use when it places them from our XY. So I'm going to set this at, let's say, 10 and minus 15. So they're going to go over and down, and then I just tell it to go. It's going to add 19 labels, just like that. And so here's what to object's going to do. It's going to put those perpendicular to the object as we move along here. You can see that. So more control than doing things natively. So let me come back here, and I'm going to put those so they're horizontal to our view. So pick that, leave it at 0, and if I put it to view, I just tell it to go update. There it turned all of those. So I'm going to move these to show you what the new feature does. I'm just going to move a couple here. And I'm going to delete a couple here to show you that if we do that, if for whatever reason anything changed here and you wanted to do something different with your labeling, but you move some of those and you don't want those affected, if I just leave this here and I tell it to add update, it's going to tell me it's going to update. It's going to add to, update the others if anything changed, and you see those did not move. So what the XY is going to do, it recognizes the placement, the original placement of them. So if you moved them, it's going to recognize that they were manually moved and it's not going to touch them. But if I tell it to update them, they will all go back to a different location. So if I just click the update button here and tell it, let me come back here. Let's change this. Actually, let me do this. Now we'll do it here. So let me change that to, I'll just give it to 30. So it's going to go further away. Tell it to add. So now it grabbed all of them. So it realized that you were updating the XY for all of those, and it went and it grabbed those and moved those that we had moved as well. So don't get confused with that if that's what you're trying to do. So we added that as a customer request, that sometimes if they moved one, they weren't updating, and now they will. So let's go to another drawing here and highlight another new addition. Let me go to this one. So multiple labels on structures. So previously when we did that, it was going to erase any of these or delete any of these that were placed that meet the settings that we have in there, and we'll replace them. And these are all dynamic. These are Civil 3D labels that we've created in our tool space, as where all of this is being pulled from. The previous ones we placed were coming from our multi-leaders selection here. I don't know if I highlighted that. Let me pop back there real quick, just so you know where we set that. In case you didn't notice, I kind of went through that pretty quick there. So let me open this back up. If I come to formatting, I'm pulling it. Oh, that's the styles. So this will be the other one. Sorry, I'll get to that. So this is pulling from anything that we have. These are all Civil 3D styles that are set here. So we'll get to the other in a second here. Now let me go back to this one. Again, we're going to be pulling Civil 3D style labels. And to add extras, we added a little selection button. So we added this button right here, this selection. So otherwise everything's the same. If you set them, you wanted them in there, we still have to go through. Well, if you've already got them set, then you won't have to, except for changing in the formatting. But I'll show you how we get at this. So pipe network labels, then we select our pipe networks. And I picked individually, or you can pick by network. You can type that in, you can select it in the drawing. I picked 4, so I picked these right here, these in the background that you can see. These storm manholes, catch basins right here. Okay, so those are what I picked, and then in this case, our vertices, it's the only option we get. Now, if we wanted to do this in plan view, we would select plan here, or in this case, I'm putting them in the profile. Then we have to select the profile, which I've done here by using the drawing selection from that right there, and just pick the profile. If I picked everything, every profile, it would find every profile and place them there. So I'll say okay right here. So I've got that selected. And then some formatting stuff right here, similar to the other page, but with pipe networks, works a little different. That we have to have our parts lists in there. If we don't, we would import them from our library. Should recognize what's in your drawing. So we're going to do those storm ones. That's the green right here that I've shown you. So then I go to my structures, and we have our settings for those. So I'm going to use name only storm. I believe they're those. If we have other structures, they will take on the default. We can put many different label types on there if we want to, anything we have available. We're not limited to one style per structure. So I've got that set to storm only, name only. And then some other things we need here, drawing settings, I'm going to leave that just as it is. Again, we could give it XY offsets if we wanted to, and I'll just tell it to add. It says it's going to add 4, name only, so it should put a little tag. And it did put a little tag. The default location for this is the rim, so if you're setting this in a Civil 3D style, you will have to play with that in a combination of the XY offsets and in your style, if that's not where you want those to land. So that will take a little bit of finagling. Once you get it, again, you can save that as a template. So what's next on the new? Update XY manually. Again, all of these were customer requests. So if you want to see something else, please let us know. We will do our best to get that to you. So in this scenario, let's say that we have a a 4-inch white paint stripe line that's right here that we want to label with the length. We can put one on there, we can put many on there. Let me open Label Genie again to do this. So again, this is a good one to save as a template if you're finding yourself putting length labels on many things like this, like paint stripes, like maybe curbs, any other thing like that that you want to label lengths. As long as you're drawing things consistently, this will do this pretty automatically by just loading the template as we showed before. So in this case, I'm going to use multi-leader label types. I'm going to put them on polylines. I think I have pre-selected this, but we will. So if I don't know what I selected, I can just hit the plus and I see that that's selected, so I don't need to. I'll say OK. And now here we have some other places to place it. Here's the new manual update that gets turned on because we selected multi-leaders. But first I want to place these on that line. So I'm going to put one at the beginning, one at the end, and one at the segment midpoint. So just because it's a polyline doesn't mean it's going to find the middle. It's going to put it at a segment midpoint. So then we come to the formatting. All I have in here is the standard. We can rotate many of the same settings. But here's the custom part right here. So if you're doing this and you save this, so I'm calling it 4-inch paint stripe white, and then I'm adding the length, which I just got from over here. So there are many things we can add over here to the label. Here's an example of what it's going to look like. So to do that, I just came and picked it right here and then pushed it over. So now if I add those, I'm going to add 3 labels. It's going to tell us that. Okay, going on the current drawing, which is the working drawing. But if I didn't like where these landed and I wanted to move these, is really what it's for. If I wanted to move these to somewhere that made more sense, I don't want to play with the X, Y. Maybe there's stuff in the way. So I move these to a better location. Okay, but then something changes. The line changed for whatever reason. Maybe the curb length changed, or the line length of this changed. And if I came here and I didn't do the manual update, it would put them back in that position we didn't like them. But all I really want is the length to update. Make that a solid length because that's what I am. So I'm going to make it 300 just like that. Verify 300. Let's try it again. So 300, it's 300. But clearly the labels aren't reflecting that. But again, we want the labels to stay where they are. For the most part, we just want the length to update. That's where this manual update comes in. So if I come here and I tell this time to manually update, and I can do this by selection, I can do however many of these I want. Just know that if the length changed, it's not going to, if I don't select it, it's going to not update the correct length there. So if I tell it OK to do that, and then I tell it to add update, it's going to update. And now the label stayed where it was. The pointer is going to the correct spot, but our length has changed. I did see a question roll in here, just FYI. to the asker. We will get to that at the end here. So that's the manual update of our multi-liters. One more thing we want to show today is that we added surface spots to the structures. Now, if you wanted to just pull a spot label for the rim of these or whatever, if you did your surface here, now we don't have to make a style for that. We don't have to mess around. If we have our surface created correctly, we can just do that with the tool now. So now that we have surface spot, again, we added pipe networks, not previously available for surface spot. So that's what's new there. Then to grab these, we can do this a number of different ways. We can do this by, I'm going to take that off. Again, this would be a good one to save as a template. So I'm going to add for the sanitary system and also these few structures here. I could do every structure in the network of every network that's available. I must have missed one. Missed this one. Let me grab that guy. So now it's going to do 17 and 4. And again, this turns on the edit update. And for this one, I'm going to turn them at 30 degrees. Take the straight up name of it, so I'm not going to append anything. I'm going to put a different one. I'm going to put this basic spot on there. And again, all the settings are the same. I can tell it to add. It's going to add 13 labels. And there we have surface labels at those structures, the ones I selected and the ones I did not. So we see that those went in there. I can include this entire network and the others simply by coming back and then coming into my pipe networks again. And I'm going to clear those few I did. And now I can come and just select these because they're all different networks. So I can pick, I want the structure. It won't know that it won't give it to you if you pick a pipe. You need to pick a structure because that's what it does. It's the structures. So it doesn't recognize the pipes. So now you saw, I don't know if you saw, let me open that back up. But now we have 48 it's going to do. And I can just tell it to re-add those. So it's going to add 13, update 13. Say okay. And again, all done that quickly. Okay, so that's all the stuff I wanted to cover today, all the new stuff. So for those of you who joined today, I thank you again for joining us. Those of you who are watching on YouTube, thank you for taking the time to do that as well. If you don't have it and you'd like to get it, go to ctcsoftware.com. And if you have any ideas or need any help, please visit our support. Oh, I forgot to show you where to get the update. Let me grab that again. If you have the tool, let me open that back up. And you want to know if you're on version 25.4. If you don't know, forgot to get to that. Then we come here and as long as I'm here, we can get help. That'll open up our help manual. Any videos, of which this will be one later on, by clicking that will take you to a web page to get at that. And if you need support, you can open that up right there. But here's how you know what version you're on. If you aren't on 25.4, but you want to, you can just click this right here. It will take you to our download page. So that's how you would do that. And As always, we build our tools for you from suggestions by you. So please let us know. And for those of you, again, who want to drop off, I'm going to say one last thank you to you and hope to see you at the next webinar.